Hi. I don't know what your day has been like, but mine has been pretty. I did get up early and I did go to the gym, and I've had some pretty amazing conversations with family and friends, and I had this big long list of jobs to do, and I've done not very many of them, and I felt really lethargic, apathetic. Um, And I've also sat in procrastination about things. Um, yeah, so it's pretty interesting, really. But I said to Lottie, I said to this friend of mine, Lottie, well, I'm sitting here and I'm feeling like I've got this kind of nervousness, and I don't know whether it's collective, it's not mine. And I don't know whether it's the divine masculine or it is the divine masculine, but I'm wondering, is it both? And she said, yes, it's both. So maybe you've been feeling that. I mean, we're really going through this winding up, this cycling up. It's getting faster, that we're losing the things that hold us, the shadow. I've got some interesting notes, and Caroline is saying yesterday was anxious, nervous, intense, feeling very uncomfortable. Yeah, so we are, I believe, well, on one level, let's put it this way, this is quite vast. I believe that we are kind of ending, closing, healing, releasing, clearing everything way back through time, through our ancient civilizations, well, as beings in those civilizations. Sorry, my desk is a mess, so I'm just moving my keyboard a bit. Yeah, through Atlantean times, Lemurian times, Babylonian times, Egyptian times. So I've noticed, quite a few people talking about that we're releasing the 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 codexes, the lessons, the intrusions, the infiltrations, the perhaps the what would be the word? I should know what the word is. The what the heck is it? When things are put inside people, particular. Anyway, I'm having trouble with words at the moment, and I have been sort of for the last few days, really. What do you call it? What do you call? What do you call it? I often am moving them out of people. Anyway, so hi Stacey, hi Billy, and hi Denise. Oh, Oh, I want to know how to Saskatchewan. Is that how you say that? Hi Pauline. Hi Andrea. Um, Thank you. Thank you, Caroline. I appreciate that. And hi, Golden. Overlay, inserts, traps. Yeah, none of those are the words I'm looking for. Like if you think about a piece of, like a little device, purging, letting go, ancient lifetimes of negativeness. Thank you. Get me back on track. So, yeah, exactly, Pauline. So that's what I feel. Implants. That's the word. Yeah. So a lot of people have been talking about removing implants and things like that from that time, but I believe it's more than that. I believe that we've been doing that through the Babylonian, through the Egyptian, through the Atlantean, through the Lemurian, that we have been releasing anything that binds us, that holds us in the lower consciousness, in the lower levels, in the lower experiences, in the shadow, and that's what we've been going through. And that, yes, thank you, Billy. And that's one of the reasons why we're tired, but it's massive. So we're going through all of that, like clear, get rid of it, release it, and then we're having all of this coming in, which is massive. It's higher frequency, it's coding, it's coming in for our crystalline upgrades, and it uses a lot of energy. So the biggest, bestest way to be with ourselves is to just be okay with what is going on in this moment, and just do what you have to do and let go anything that's not crucial, urgent. That's what I would say. So I've been feeling quite labeling myself lazy and as a procrastinator today, but really I'm not taking it on board too much. So yeah, all the old stories, that's right, because the stories are what loop us. I often especially when I see people who've been going to kind of standard counseling, and I talk to them, and I often let them tell me, and then I say, okay, so we don't need to deal with the story part of that. We're just going to deal with the energetic part of that, because it's the story, in my humble view. I am happy for other people to have a totally different view. But in my humble view, I feel that it's the story that keeps us locked into the loop. And so if we release the story, then we can deal with the energy that was around the story, and then we can release that. It's so vivid, feel like water moving inside. Yeah, well, the water is really playing a role, isn't it? It's the waters of consciousness that we've been speaking about, maybe, I don't know, a week ago, maybe, because these are coming in through the air, the water, the fire, the earth, into our bodies, around us, in the inner earth and the external of the earth, and in all the water flows. And so this is how we, I believe, work with the quantum, work with the molecular holographic nature of water holding the codes. So it's exciting, and there's a lot of interest in keeping our frequency down, and I want to say let's have a lot of interest in keeping our frequency up. So let me begin. So this is notes from the last 4 or 5 days, and a new level of illumination. That was what came on the 25th. So that was for us in our bodies, for the planet itself, and that was showing up as internal of the planet, internal of us, external of us in our Merkaba, in our energetic light body, and external of the planet in terms of its vibratory resonance, maybe. I mean, you could see it through any of those, through the ionosphere, through the magnetosphere, through the electromagnetosphere, but all showing up as this greater illumination, and the core of the earth showing up with that as well. And Gaia said progression to the new will be quick and directly aligned to the shifts and movement in mental constructs of the higher mind being applied in thought, word, and action. So that's kind of a bit lofty, isn't it? But that's what came through. The shifts and movement in the mental construct. So we've really been deconstructing in our mental mind, and especially that this has been applying to the divine masculine, but we all hold that, so it's applying to us in that way, as well as we're really being encouraged to examine the truth of these in new light. Excuse me. So this is creation, Gaia said, of the higher, and there is little opposition to the formulation of this, as it is energized by love from the heart. And really, this is our fuel, this is our battery. The heart is the battery, and love is the fuel, and love is the energizer, and love is the communicator. It's the bracketing around everything that's going to shift us. So she was saying it's similar to switching on the lights in a newly constructed house, and that's what we're going through. So the nodal lights there's so many aspects that we've spoken of. We've spoken about this kind of swirling. Let me shift around on my chair a bit. We've spoken about this, the swirling around us, and the nodes being on that. We've spoken about the crystalline nodes inside our body. We've spoken about the crystalline fluid and those being activated. But all of it is this switching on the lights, the crystalline lights that are in all of these aspects. And the dissolution, Gaia said, of the need to be right and the contrast of black and white, left and right, wrong and right, while still useful for creation ideas, she's saying, because we can reflect on what we don't want, will lose its traction in prevention. Sorry, have I got that correct? Yes, will lose its traction in the prevention related to the creating and the building and the construction of our new system structures and operations. So in other words, we will use that as a mechanism to look at what didn't work in order that we can find things that do work. We'll look at what doesn't serve us in ways that, so that we can look at ways that things will serve us, or serve the greater, or serve the higher, or serve more of us. And also the power of collaboration becomes exponential when the cause is for common good and the outcome is for fifth dimensional living. So these are the lofty notions, constructs, ideas that we are beginning to have, I want to say, swirling around in our consciousness, in our mental mind, and in those people like you who are awake and aware. It's where the focus is going. Many solutions already, Gaia says, have been designed and are in the pipeline, and they are awaiting what detracts and distracts through the dollar loop to be completed. So that's the interference that she's speaking about, that's imposing the slowing down of some of the new designs and new creations for our world. So once that interference goes, we can be using free energy systems and working with processes and materials that serve humanity, that support good health and healthy communities, and align with the health of Gaians and of Gaia. And so we are speaking here of the human community, of the animal, of the bird community, of all the plants and creatures, and all of the elementals. Hello, Sally. So I am told that we are close to this precipice where these inventions can and will be revealed and can be put into place and into production without risk of sabotage. So you probably know as well as I do that these exist, and that they are there, and they are being used in small ways, in slightly secreted environments. And so I asked her, what are we waiting for? And she said, we're waiting for some closures and some disclosure, some rounding up and some incarceration of people, the tidying up of the end game. Remember, this is a huge endeavor to have uncovered the evil ones and all the evil systems and intent. And this is now and will soon allow room and space and opportunity for the new, for the advanced, for the higher, the recoding and resetting of the natural phenomena, power sites on and in our planet. And so we're not talking about hydro dams, we're talking about the power sites that align to the pyramids, to some of the spires, to some of the towers, to some of the other ancient monolithic structures that we don't know about, that are hidden, that are below ground, above ground. And these will all come to be activated shortly. And this has needed to be carried out also. This was something I hadn't really considered too deeply, to be honest, whilst maintaining balance. So a, it's a bit like, I was thinking about this, like that game of pick up sticks, so it's easy to pull one out, but you have to pull it out without everything else collapsing. And so that's what she's been speaking about in terms of our deconstruction, where energy, being everything, will come into being our currency and exchange. Yes, that's right. Full moon. Full moon. It's a super moon. It's the last super moon of the year. And it's the 4th super moon that we've had. And there's some association with it being the divine masculine moon. And it's definitely the moon that's going to illuminate what needs to be seen. And it's a bit like shining a torch on the pathway. So it lights up where we need to go, our passion, purpose, direction. So this is what we're coming into today. So we are preparing for wrapping up and closing off the old ideas, pattern, conditions, and paradigms. And this especially relates to the masculines and to the three-dimensional world and the matrix. So many aspects are coming to an end. I have been, and I may have read this part yesterday, I've been in the experience of big, long heart breaths, so I'm curious as to whether you have been. It's like breathing in through the front of the chest, indicating huge heart expansion. And our world is tipping into more heart-centered living, heart-driven and supported decisions and practices, higher consciousness, and this greater consideration of the whole whilst maintaining sovereignty and individuality. So there is nothing that lines up here it's all about me, but it is about me in deference to it being not imposing on the will of others. So Gaia is emitting crystalline codes that showed up on that day as well from the core of the earth in a stronger and more deliberate way. As all aspects and components of earth, of Gaia as living, sentient being, are coming into the higher frequency and consciousness of the 5D or the 5th dimensional aspect. So the timeline split or the bifurcation, that showed up to me as kind of overlapping with a curve. So if you think about a band here that's the 5th and a band here that's the 4th, if you like, I always think of that being a very skinny band. And then the 3rd, it's like the middle of it, there was this curving line. So we were sort of wafting in and out as we are getting conditioned. So overlapping with this curving line, that will also, because of that, it has this impact on the lower, and then some merging occurs. So it's kind of a way of maintaining our level and like dipping our foot into the water to mix it around a bit and to impact on that lower level. And we are looking at the series of spiraling possibilities between now and the end of April of 2024. So it shows up to me that everything really is now moving in spirals. We can spiral up and down in every moment with any given thought, word, or action. And it's important to be focused on which direction you're going on and what your thoughts and words and actions may be taking you to. Is it taking you into descension or into ascension? And it's this idea that this is now occurring in every moment. So we've got other potentialities coming in for the end of March, for the end of December, or the end of December first and the end of March, and some other gateway opportunities coming in October. Also, what is happening with the lower timeline, if you like, is that they are succumbing to and receiving pressure. So they are coming into some response through pain, through suffering, through discomfort, and it's to encourage them to make higher choices. And so we can play a role with that, but measure it out carefully. Some people are ready to receive those things, and some people are not. And a reminder that we are coming into this crystalline molecular structure that has an impact on our level of tiredness, and that's impacting our light body, our Merkaba, and our crystalline structure, as well as our spiral. It is like we've got these overlays that are having and doing that are different sacred geometry and having different impacts, although I can't tell you the differential between the impacts, but that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing that we've got this core rod, that we've got the spiral that spins around us, that we've got the Merkaba, which is the star tetrahedron, and that is spinning one in one direction, one in the other, and that our energetic fields are being impacted by the crystalline codes coming in through it from the outer to the inner, and that we're getting upgrades in our brain, in our vision, in our hearing, that our throats are changing, that the hearts are bridging to the throat. We're coming into being able to express greater truth and more alignment with our own divinity, truth, direction. So yeah, I actually don't think I'm going to, well, maybe I'll be inspired to, but at the moment I'm not inspired to go and look into the ins and outs of all of that, because it's obvious that it's happening. We can feel it happening, and there's a lot. And it's all coming into the physical, so everybody will begin to feel it as well. So we're in this expansiveness. That's an energy that showed up today. And speed and acceleration. And we're in this interweaving flow of energetics coming from both above and below, and inner and outer. So that's us as well as the planet, impacting on changes to the human physical body, including cognitive function and emotional response, and the connections and disconnections to our sense of or non-sense of time. So that elusive old chestnut called time. If you have not yet adjusted to the construct of working with spirals, then begin to consider this idea of all movement through all time and space occurring through the shape and the nature and movement of spirals, up and down and in and below, all are being built through the motion of spirals. Attuned to Gaia and the energies, I am showing multiple and even overlaying vertical spirals of white crystalline threads and lines today. So it was interesting. It reminded me of, I don't know if you've ever seen one of these. Well, I bought one of these for my parents' wedding anniversary once because of its meaning. So it's a prawn or a shrimp house. So they they build this out of it's like a silica. It's if you think crystalline, um, that will give you the best idea. And it's like a net. It's like a crystal net, and they mate in the crystal net, and it's got like a tail at one end and a more of a sort of uh, more rounded at the top end. And I think they they lay the eggs in there, and then they exit and seal it up. and and so it's this idea that they've created this safe place for their eggs to develop into shrimps. um, I'm not sure whether it's shrimps or prawns, and this is the house, and it's left safely. And this is what this tower, this crystalline, the threads are looking like today. They're looking like that, as though there's these vertical lines and crossover, like a whole lot of grid lines really in this vertical tower. But that's what they reminded me of, the shrimp or the prawn house. We are in ongoing purification and ascension energies. And I noticed that Caroline said the other day about lots of peeing, and that's the same for me. I don't know about you, but that's all part of what we're doing as part of our purification. I want to tell you now, which is what I already have told you, that every thought now sends you in a corresponding direction, either ascending or descending. So that's a pretty strong reminder and marker of keeping yourself in check. That thoughts, words, and actions are increasingly present and important, that you may find yourself rocking and pivoting. So that was interesting, because I realized that I was doing that. And so I tuned into it and I asked about it. That you might find yourself rocking and pivoting on sexual creative energies from the second chakra, and feel into where these energies inspire you to go, to move, to do, to write, to be, because um, they made that side of God, that they might be doing that. And then let love guide the way, first of self, then of other, then of earth, of nature, and then of the higher. Yeah. So we're moving as a planet, as a people, into becoming more awake, more aware, more conscious, in this completion of self, coming into wholeness, coming into balance, coming into connection, and then this recognition of who we are in the highest levels, becoming more illuminated and conscious. And we're really on our way with it. And those of you who are here are leading the way, not alone, but part of the group who are leading the way. And I want to say that the direction is more assured now, because there's a lot of energetics that support us in just moving in an expanded way. I wonder if the planets and stars are having a homecoming with Gaia and we're invited to feel it. I feel that makes sense. And there's a lot of assuredness and surety with Gaia, and there's a lot of steadfastness about where we're heading, that we're in this little end part that we keep saying about, but it's very much, I guess you can see it, feel it as much as I can. It's in the physical, it's happening right in us, on us, around us. Andromeda, so very much after August. Okay, well, that could well be. So we certainly are having quite significant planetary alignments that are having massive impacts on our ascension, our trajectories into the higher. So yeah, just I would just see something drinking water with sulfur MSM, and it helps with the non-stop peeing. Oh, okay, thank you. All right, so that's me. Thank you for joining me here. Keep your eyes focused on where it is that you are going. Take good care of yourself. Be more, do less. And we shall speak again soon, unless there's any questions here. I'll just sit here for a moment and see. Yeah, I mean, you might know the answers that I don't. Thank you. All right. Well, we'll close. Take care. Look forward to your new friends, your new partners, your new experiences coming in ease and grace and comfort. And I was talking to, I have 3 physical sisters, as well as a lot of like as in blood sisters. And I was talking to one of them today, and I said to her, "Well, maybe it's time to write, do a rewrite of the qualities and attributes that you might want in your partnership or in your," well, that was what I was speaking to her about, and that equally applies to your work, your business, your house, any of that. It's really powerful, accelerated creation times, and so yeah, stating those things, I am using those kinds of language for framing them up, and maybe do them with somebody, and you can take the spin motivation off one another. You're welcome, Pauline. You're welcome, Dawn. Thank you, everyone. All right, much love. Bye.